we are here living the authentic life with two dear friends, the Chandlers, Jeannie and Rob. What a great name for a man, Rob.
Thank you.
So we met these guys through mutual friends, charity in the city.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what has Jeannie not done? Mostly, I knew her through NCL, but also before that, it was the Junior League, and you have done so much for the city. But you've also been working as an interior designer for years. Your background, you are a Baylor girl,
yes.
and you are, you and your family have done amazing things for the city, and you've built so much of the city through commercial real estate. And so it was so interesting to hear that you guys had opened an art gallery,
yes.
because you're so successful in your own fields, and to expand into something that's such a niche surprised me, but I was excited. But then when I saw your bio and that you guys had been collecting for so many years, and you had been so connected to the journeys of the artist, and then where they eventually, the pieces are presented in the homes that you've done, it seemed like such a natural evolution. So I'd love to hear from both of you about kind of the story about if it was years of planning, if there was an aha moment, like how does one make this big leap?
Yes. Well, I'll turn that over to Rob. He's always great at telling that story.
So we've been collecting for quite a long time. And then last year we had a very unique opportunity which would allow us to take that passion and turn it into a profession. And so Jeannie and I discussed it at length and ultimately made the decision to really follow our hearts and follow our passion. And now here we are.
So what was the moment?
I had contacted a specific artist. I had read about her, I believe, in the New York Times. I did some research, not only on her work, but on her personally, and then reached out and connected with her on the phone. We probably had hour-ish long conversations weekly for about 6 weeks. So what turned into us personally purchasing a piece kind of evolved into, Rob, I don't have representation in Texas, and I just feel like we're kind of on the same page. And I had previously mentioned to her that, one day Jeannie and I had talked about opening a gallery. And she was like, I kind of feel like that time is now. And she said, let me call one of my friends, who's also a very well-known artist. Her name is Allison Zuckerman. She said, let me talk to Allison about you and about me and, kind of what I think we can do in Texas. So she arranged a phone call with Allison. Allison and I had a number of conversations, and Allison was absolutely on board as well with not only us collecting a piece from her, but being part of the gallery.
Wow. And what I want to jump right into it. What you were telling me about before we started was that you weren't just going to show different pieces to people in the community, but you were going to be a different gallery for the artist, because it isn't just about the connection with the art with the person, but it's the connection with the artist.
With the artist, yes.
And real collaboration versus dictation.
Yes. And that's something that our education has been greatly expanded through this relationship or these relationships with these artists. The other artist that he was referring to, the first one, is Amani Lewis. So Amani and Allison were really the catalyst and the inspiration and our cheerleaders to, really move this forward. But so many of their experiences have been bad ones with many galleries and many interactions. And as we learned about this as collectors, we're like, oh, it shouldn't be that way. It should be a more equitable experience for the artist, especially because they're the one with the craft and these beautiful works that we are showcasing and sharing with the world. And so we wanted to make it to where we are looking out for the artist's best interest. We want to make sure that they feel like they're being treated well, that they're part of the conversation. It really is a collaboration with us. And we pass that on, and that story that we know about them, about the art, about their life, whatever may be their inspirations, to our clients who come in, because I think that's important and really opens their eyes to the art pieces.
And to elaborate, we have the unique ability to have a different conversation with the artists. Our daughter is currently going to Savannah College of Art and Design. And so she is going to make a career out of art, whether she works for a large corporation doing some design work or being an independent artist. Her paycheck will be a result of her art. So what we tell the artist, that we are going to treat you the way that we would want our daughter to be treated. And that really resonates with them, because not every gallery owner can have that point of view. So it's been really helpful.
There's a quote, "Do unto others as how you would have them do unto you."
Or unto your daughter.
Well, and I think that's true. Anytime there's real connection is when you can have empathy for someone else's journey. Because, and if you've lived some of those experiences. And the other thing that I'm hearing is that you found a niche, you found a hole, you found something that needed to be filled. Where I feel like a lot of people just say, oh, I like this, and I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to sell it. And I think people want to know what makes you different and what will make their experience different. And what I loved about you sharing about y'all's journey was the word connection. And we were talking about Dan Buettner with Blue Zones, that's one of the biggest factors in life for people living to be 100. Is 7 of his 9 factors are about connection. And I love that you said art was connection. And so let's talk a little bit about that connection, the connection with the art, the connection with the buyer, and then how the buyer gets to meet the artist, maybe in a little bit of that.
Well, and many of our artists too have those conversations, and that's important to us. Not only do we have that connection and relationship, but we want our clients to get to know them as well. Many of our artists do commissions, and so we've already had quite a few commissions from clients, and so that gives them a way to interact with the artist too, because the artists get very excited when they hear an inspiration or colors that they want to meet with or have in this art when they're meeting with the artist and the client. But I think it's very much so that we tell the stories too that have been told to us, or the stories that we know of the passion and the pieces that we share and carry forward, that I think makes such a difference. I mean, that seems to really, like you said, resonate with people. They seem to really respond to that, and it makes a difference when they're looking at something or looking at that artwork, not just as a pretty painting or a pretty sculpture or something interesting to fill a wall or a space. It really takes on a whole new meaning.
Yeah, and I think maybe you can tell a little bit about like the pieces behind us. Because I was telling Jeannie earlier, I can look at something and appreciate it, but then when I hear what's behind it, I feel like it gives you a deeper connection, a deeper meaning, and you then can see more in that interpretation of it.
Yeah, sure. So his name is Jason Hackenworth, and Jeannie actually is the one who first saw his work, but he was also a student at SCAD. So we were taking our daughter, I think, to school, and
for her
they have
freshman year check-in.
Yeah, they have a gallery at SCAD, and Jeannie saw his artwork and really liked it, and so she did some research. We looked at the work together, which is one thing we always do, is we always, before we pick and decide to go with an artist, we both want to make sure that we're on the same page and both very passionate about that artist's work. So we absolutely love Jason's work. And then I reached out to him on the phone and just, kind of took him through the reason why we liked his work and where we found it. And he asked a lot of questions about our daughter. He had great experiences at SCAD and still kept a line of communication with the school. They're still purchasing his artwork, which is great to hear how SCAD continues to work with their artist after they graduate.
So, working with a spouse, I'm very aware of my Rob. He's perfect, but I'm imperfect. So I love that you agree on everything, because there's no way that Rob and I could come to
we
an
don't.
agreement. But before you commit to an artist, I think that's important. And we were chatting about that a little bit before. Like, I love that you told me that you purchased so many pieces that are here. And I was saying, for our pre-owned luxury business, we purchase everything we have in stock. So we've already believe in it.
You've committed to it.
Committed
put
to
your
it.
money in
Yes.
it.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's the passion that sells. Oftentimes when you're designing a house for someone that you've done, you might not have the same style as them, but all the designers I've worked with have felt like, I feel like when we get to a place, they have to, the homeowner has to feel it and the designer has to feel it. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, I will say yes, and truly in my business, I'm working with a little bit more of a commercial end of it in my design firm, which is nice because then we get to we pick everything for the client and really kind of give them the entire package, and they are very responsive and thrilled, and so it's kind of the best of both worlds. We get to go in and curate everything to what we see that the profile fits. So if we're doing a buyer profile, all of those metrics. But then on this end, working with clients in their home with the artwork, it's a very different experience. It's very personal. A lot of times they come in. We had someone come in the other day, just walked in looking at galleries, and Rob will say, we're like, thank goodness she wandered in. There ended up being a connection with me from the past of some work I had done just out of the blue, but she didn't know where to start. She knew she needed artwork, but she didn't know kind of where to start, what she wanted. And we see that with a lot of people. They're not all seasoned collectors that walk in and, have an extensive collection and are just browsing to see if there's anything that they're missing to add. Wouldn't you say, Rob?
Yeah.
They're very much needing our help and guidance.
Look,
And yes, and we see that too in our business. Like there's the first time watch buyer
That's
that
right.
knows nothing.
Nothing.
And they want to know how much they should spend and what's
Right.
a good. And it's our job to walk them through it and ask the right questions to get them to the place that you can lead them to make the decision of what's best.
Yes.
absolutely.
Because you can't say, this is my favorite, you should have this. Because
No,
your favorite
right.
doesn't work
It's not
for
their
the
favorite.
person.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, everyone purchases their first handbag. Everyone purchases their very first painting. So we want this experience to be incredibly approachable, easy, and it should be fun.
Because I feel like both experiences are intimidating.
And they
Like
shouldn't be.
You walk into
Right.
Hermes or Chanel and Cartier.
Oh, very
and
much. Yes.
I
And you're
have
like,
friends in all those stores, so I am welcome because I can walk in and know people. But the first time I did, I wonder, am I dressed well enough? Are they going to help me? I don't even know what question to ask. And it's the exact same thing with art. I'm not an art collector. I
Right.
literally just started collecting pieces from a girlfriend. I guess I've collected photography, but not even quality. I don't even know the term. It's not value. I just see it, I like it, I buy it.
Yeah,
I haven't
sure.
invested in it because in my mind, I buy handbags and watches and jewelry because when I'm done with it, I could sell it.
Right.
So talk a little bit about how you get into that. And is that the same thing with art?
Yeah, absolutely. What I typically see when someone comes in, because we do have these 3 separate rooms along with the mezzanine level upstairs,
Oh, I got to check that out.
and there's artwork everywhere. When I see someone make their lap through the gallery, and if they stop at a particular piece, spend a little bit of time looking at it, then they continue on looking at the rest of the gallery. When they go back to that piece, to me, that something is drawing them to that piece. And that's when we go up and just have a really easy conversation about, hey, what drew you to this piece? Was it the color? Was it the design? Is it the size? Did you feel something when you came back to it? And so kind of having that conversation, kind of helps them understand also to verbalize it. What about that particular piece they like?
Right, and some people might say to us, well, I'm not ready to buy, but
Right.
I'm trying to decide what to buy first.
Yeah.
And then that
Very
can
much,
also
yes.
lead you.
Totally cool.
And then there might be an artist that you don't have their piece here, but you could lead them to that and then help them find it.
Yes.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, so there, as Jeannie mentioned, there's a number of artists that are very much open to doing commissions. And we had a client that we've never met, by the way. He lives in Miami, and this was the most recent commission we had done about a week ago. He was drawn to one particular artist, but I could tell what we had just wasn't quite what he wanted. And so I said, hey, look, let's do a Zoom with the artist, and let's go over his color palette. You can see him in his studio. You can ask questions. It's an open forum, and there's no commitment. I mean, if after the Zoom that you still aren't sure if that's quite the right fit, hey, no worries, no harm, no foul. And so we did it, and there was great engagement between the client and the artist. Great collaboration going back and forth, and he wound up picking a size and a very bright blue color that he was after. And so the artist said, no problem, I can get this for you.
And it was beautiful, absolutely stunning piece when it was completed. It was
So
just
fun.
completed. So you can see that what Rob's saying too. We're trying to make it a more fun and interactive experience, and not just such a serious, overwhelming experience walking into a gallery and you're thinking everything in here is unattainable.
Yes, and I
It's
think
not.
that
It
they
is
say
very obtainable.
People buy from people.
Yes.
And I think that after COVID, we all really appreciated the value of connection more than ever.
Yes.
And then I think we also looked at our homes and said, okay, is this a place that I feel good in? Is this a place that I am surrounding myself with images or things that I like? And I can tell you, marrying Rob, we've been together 20 years, but we were married later in life. So he came with more than just the bachelor pad couch. He came out with all this Art Deco, these pieces, and one of them I hated and I now love. It's this beautiful snake lamp that's Art Deco, and I was like, a snake, because my mom hates snakes. Shout out to Nancy, love you. But now I love it. And I was like, where are we going to put that thing? But it is interesting how your tastes and styles evolve over time based upon where you travel, what you're exposed to, what things you see. And now with hilarious, yesterday, I was mentioning doing this space in Colorado, Rob goes, oh, Mike found a lot of things on Pinterest. Do you use Pinterest today? I'm like, Rob, that was 20 years ago. It's like me telling you to go to a watch show to buy a watch. Of course I look at Pinterest. But even Pinterest changes.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you can say, here is a piece in a room. I think that changes it for people.
Yes.
Because a lot of people struggle with imagining it, and they see it next to something else, and then you know how colors change. So talk a little bit about that, and can people take a piece if they're really serious and consider it in a room, and how do you help people through that process of the placement? Because that's a big part of it.
It is. Well, and being a designer, I think that helps put them at ease as well, because I'm going out to meet with a client tomorrow in her home, and she's redone the interior completely from a more traditional space to a much more contemporary, light and bright kind of canvas to work with, and beautiful new contemporary furniture, but no art. And so we have a beautiful clean slate to kind of start with, and it's going to be a lot of fun, but it's
overwhelming.
It's overwhelming for her. Very large spaces. What do we buy? Where do we start? Right.
Small.
And we were joking what she thought. She goes, oh, that will be plenty big. And it was a small 24 by 24 painting, beautiful by the artist, but her wall is massive. And I said, you love that. We'll find another home for that, because it will have a beautiful place somewhere in your home. But that big wall is not, not the place. It really is having someone go out there and walk through it with them and talk about and see their space and see what colors they have, what they like and don't like. As you said, my favorites are definitely not their favorites. And I really have to be open to hearing what they have to say and seeing what they need, and just try to help them make those decisions, because they're going to be looking at that every day. And I want them to feel as excited about it when they see it every day as they were when they saw it in the gallery, and they were when we took it out to their home and placed it on the wall for them to see if they like it, if they want, let them live with it a little bit and just kind of see what's going on. So we try to, we install, we'll take things out to a client's home and put them in the rooms and let them see,
look at it
and live with it.
Matters.
Right.
Like I just
It matters.
art around in our house, and it changed the way each room felt.
Right.
Oh yes.
And we did
Yeah.
this really dramatic wallpaper in the dining, and we even put art on top of the dramatic wallpaper. And what?
Yes, I saw that. It looked fabulous.
And I never would have done that, but it takes someone kind of pushing you a little bit, and telling you it's okay, and making you, and you're like, I'm not sure, and you feel vulnerable to try it, and you're like, I'm gonna put a hole in the wall, and you can fix that. So talk a little bit about like mixing art and colors, because I've also noticed it doesn't all have to be the same color in every room.
Right. So I think, in my opinion, number one, get what you like. That's the most important thing when it comes to art.
Yes.
Is go with what you like.
Makes you light up.
What makes you happy.
Makes you happy.
What gives you joy.
Or what makes you feel an emotion. And it could be something dark that makes you feel an emotion.
Right.
Even that darkness can be opening.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what kind of energy do you get out of that room as well? And what are you looking for? So that's really, really important when it comes to picking pieces that are going to be a great fit for your home. The one thing that I would advise people to do if a gallery is, giving you the option of, hey, let us bring a piece out, we'll put it on your wall. There's no obligation. But if you're kind of struggling to visualize what it may look like, let us bring it out there. We can put it on the wall. And then if it's not a fit, no worries. Super easy to go take it and put it back into the van. But that's really the best way to kind of get an understanding of how is the piece going to look? What's the energy out of the piece? And is it what you want? And so really, I think people don't take advantage of that as much as they should.
Because every room is different. The lighting in a room makes a huge difference.
The paint
on the wall makes a huge difference.
The texture of the fabric on the couch.
Yes.
Or the pillows we even have.
It all makes a difference. And the energy, like he said, you're going for something bold and contemporary, say like the piece that I'm facing, or are you going something in a room that's going to be a little bit more of a relaxation room that needs to be a little softer and, more movement, but softer in color. And, art is endless. There's so many possibilities. So you don't ever have to feel like you're forced into a box of there's only one choice. There are infinite choices.
And so I find that most people coming in, some people coming in to buy from us, they say, I'm saving up for my first Chanel bag, or I'm saving to buy my first Rolex. So sometimes they want to buy the classic, more expensive, but sometimes they want the starter version, and I call that the C-Class Mercedes.
Right.
You're getting luxury, but so can you walk us through, if somebody wants to start collecting it, they want to find a piece, how would you direct them? Because a lot of people don't even know where to go, and they're intimidated to come here. Do you go to art fairs? Like, tell us how you would start.
Yeah, sure. So when I talked about earlier about how we started our own collection, well, it started with one piece. And so we want a little bit of something for everyone in this gallery. So if you're starting a collection and you're looking for that very first piece, well, we've got pieces that start at a very reasonable price point.
And what is that?
So we have some pop art that starts at a very reasonable price point. We've got some abstract pieces as well.
Like 1,000, 2,000?
Maybe 2,000 and up. We have some smaller pieces, actually, some small abstract pieces that are as low as 500. So I would say 500 and up.
Okay.
But it's important, to find something that you really gravitate towards.
Yes.
So we've got multiple options in that easier price point.
And I found that, and I was mentioning earlier, one of my inner circle girlfriends is Elizabeth Waggett, and she's an incredible artist from Manchester. And I have purchased small pieces that are hers so that I can have, and then I want to have something commissioned by her for our Colorado house. So I think that it is interesting. A lot of artists are seeing that people want to get connected to the journey, and maybe they want to step their toe in at a lower price point.
Right.
Are you seeing artists open to that, or do most of them want to just do the big pieces?
Every artist is a little bit different, depending on what they produce. And as we walk through the gallery later after this, we'll be able to talk about the artists that are willing to do commissions and those that aren't necessarily geared towards that. But when you look at their artwork, it kind of makes sense.
So, like, I haven't met Ashley Longshore, but I love pop art, and I have a Cavalier, and then she does the Birkins. So there is a picture of our same color Cavalier peeing on a Birkin, and it says something funny. I don't even know what. But are you seeing that? Like, I walk through, and you say, "What inspires you?" I love James Bond, so I see it. I love Audrey. I'm like, it's so predictable. I'm almost embarrassed, like I'm the cliche that likes the things that they know and feel comfortable with seeing, and it gives you a memory and a connection because she's a fashion icon. But talk a little bit about that. Are you seeing people wanting to reflect their lives in art?
Very much so, very much so. And I think that's why there's a place for everything. People love the pop art. It caught your eye, it moved you. You connected with Audrey when you came in. Your Rob loves James Bond. It's 007, that means something to him.
We still, Bella, Rob's a teenager. They don't want to spend any time with you. But she will watch James Bond with us.
Yes, but very much so. And I think it's, different things connect. We have some street artists that are incredible, well-known mural painters that have, we commissioned a canvas that's hanging in the front of the gallery, and it's incredibly moving, and people come in and really kind of resonate with it and look and just kind of really are moved, and he's done them in different sizes so that we have those more attainable pieces. But I think it depends, or the faces, the signature collection of Jane Dubois, our artist, who does some amazing work. The same thing with Jason Hackenworth, and his oversized canvases that really have a lot of power and color and just emotion. And I think it really just depends on the person. They're all looking for something. They may not know what it is, but they definitely come in and will connect. And it's hard to say what they connect with. It could be from one extreme to the other in the gallery. It could be the pop art. It could be, this large oversized abstract. It could be a sculpture. It could be anything. It depends on the person and kind of what they see that all of a sudden they're like, wow,
So I love this area. I was saying that it's great, and you guys were telling me that there's 9 other galleries in this area, and see people are connected with one another, and that's kind of us in the wholesale jewelry building. We can do business with other people. They're competitors, but we're working together. So talk a little bit about the Houston gallery market and the Houston art community.
Yeah, sure. This is actually referred to as Gallery Row, Colquitt Street. So there are 8 galleries within walking distance. And the other gallery owners have been really nice and kind and sweet. They all reached out when we moved in saying, hey, how can we help? Let us understand, the type of art that you're going to have. And, please come to our gallery and look at what we have. That way, if we have someone that walks in and after a conversation with them, we understand that we may not have what they're looking for. Well, because of those conversations, then we're more likely to say, hey, you know what? You need to go to the gallery next door because they may have something that's a really good fit for you.
And that's not always the way communities are. It seems like Houston is more embracing across channels of people working together.
Very much. And everyone here has been, as Rob said, been amazing. Anything we need, they're like, we're in this together. We're all here. You succeed, we succeed. And I loved hearing that. They're like, let us know if you need anything. We're here, all here to help. And they are. And so usually, especially when the weather's nicer, one Saturday a month, we'll have kind of an art walk. And the doors are all open. Some may have an artist talk, or it just may be an open exhibition. And the turnout is amazing. People come and we're all serving rosé or wine, and just everyone's welcome to walk through and visit and enjoy the art and get to know a little bit more about our gallery and all the galleries here and the artist. And it's really a great experience. I'd encourage everyone, if you have a chance, it's a great way to spend a Saturday afternoon, early evening. Come down and take a walk, have a glass of wine, and really enjoy all of the creative artists that you'll see.
So interesting. And let's talk a little bit about these big shows and all the attention they're getting. I feel like there's Art Basel and it's not just in Switzerland anymore. It's in Miami, and then when even at Sundance you see all these art exhibits coming up. It seems to be this very fluid line between fashion and art and film and all of that.
Yeah, right. It's very cohesive. They tend to go hand in hand, and they get a tremendous amount of press coverage these days. Social media, I think, has had a significant impact on awareness of Art Basel and Art Miami. They're great shows, and if you ever get the chance, absolutely go. It's a tremendous number of artists in a highly concentrated area, so it's kind of fast-paced. A lot happens after hours and parties, and it's very unique.
But just the artists being showcased in the galleries from Art Miami, very different from Art Basel. Basel's on a much bigger, kind of installation, exhibition scale, price point scale.
High price.
That's something that I could do, because Art Basel is always during December.
Yes.
And we are working 6-7 days a week.
Yes.
And we're not able to sneak away.
Right.
It's always that same week.
Yeah. And so when is Art Miami?
Same week.
Oh, it is.
Same week.
Miami kind of front loads and Art Basel. They both end over the weekend, but it's definitely worth a trip. It's a lot of walking and looking, and it's really overwhelming for the creative senses. But it's absolutely amazing, the artwork, the galleries, just the caliber of artists that you will see. The talent is just unbelievable. And there's artists and galleries from all over the world that come there for that, 7 to 10 days. And the artist, it's a big deal for anyone who's shown, at Art Miami and Art Basel. It's a great way to get in front of people who come in from all over the world.
Incredible. Well, I want to walk around with you, and we'll feature on YouTube Shorts some of the incredible art pieces you have here. But are there any things that we didn't touch on that you want to share with listeners?
No, I think our take home is art can be very approachable. It's not intimidating, and it should be fun. And so that's what we really focus on here. Just make it fun. Walk out with a smile on your face.
Well, I had fun, and I was sharing with you as I tend to reach out to people that I feel energy and connection with. And so much of the stories are similar. It's people that have committed to do the work. They've spent 10,000 hours following a passion, buying, meeting, talking, connecting, and then they're able to really build a business based upon what they felt the need was. And I think it's incredible that you guys have done that in such a beautiful way, and that you're reaching out to the community and having other people here, hosting events here, because I think sometimes people are looking for event spaces to get
Yes,
together for
very much.
charities. And
Yes.
you're open to having charities
Absolutely.
come here
We would love to.
and connect.
Right.
And I think it feels really joyful and happy here. I guess it helps that it's 80 degrees in February.
As I'm sitting here sweating.
We have our Easter
Yes.
dresses on today.
Yes. Spring
Yeah.
for sure.
But it was
in February.
snowing 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
So you just never know. You can't
Yes.
plan too far in advance. Well,
But
thanks,
thank you.
y'all.
Thank you,
I'm so
Danae,
excited.
for doing this today.
And,
This is great.
I'll look forward to many more adventures with you
Oh,
guys.
thank you.
Yes,
All
very
right,
much.
Appreciate it.
Keep living the authentic life.